Moi and welcome to my Finnish lesson. Today we are going to learn the partitive case. Let's get started. The partitive case, or partitive in Finnish, is one of the 15 grammatical cases in Finnish. So far, we have learned several grammatical cases. In lesson 28, we learned that the genitive case, the letter N ending, shows possession. For example, Erika's car is Erikan auto in Finnish. In lesson 13, we learned the ergative case, STA ending, which shows where something or somewhere comes from. For example, from Finland is Suomesta. Unlike those cases, the partitive case is much broader and more abstract. There are roughly three main situations where we use the partitive case, but today we will focus only on the first one. The first situation is numbers plus the partitive case. When there is only one, we use the basic form of the noun. However, when there are two or more, or zero, we use the partitive case. For example, one apple in Finnish is yksi omena, but two apples is kaksi omenaa. Here, omena is the basic form and omenaa is the partitive form. This may remind you of the English plural letter S, although it isn't exactly the same concept. The same rule applies to zero. Zero apples is nolla omenaa. Now, let's learn how to form the partitive case. There are these four basic patterns to form the partitive case. Let's check one by one. The first pattern is to add a or a. As we just saw, omena is the partitive form of omena, so we simply add another a. We use this pattern when a word ends with a single vowel. For example, bussi, meaning bus, ends with a single vowel I. So the partitive form is bussia. There is one important exception. Words ending in ia, ea, or ea also follow this pattern, even though they end in two vowels. For example, idea ends with a. So the partitive form is idea. The second pattern is to add ta or ta. We use this pattern when a word ends with two vowels or a single consonant. For example, museo, meaning museum, ends with two vowels, e and o. So the partitive form is museota. Another example is puhelin, meaning phone, since it ends with a single consonant. The partitive form is puhelinta. The third pattern is to add TTA or TTA. This pattern is used when a word ends with the letter E. Normally, words ending with a single vowel take a or a, but if that vowel is the letter E, we use TTA or TTA instead. For example, vaate, meaning piece of clothing or garment, ends with the letter E. So the partitive form is vaatetta. The last pattern is for words ending in nen. First, remove nen and then add astea or astea. For example, nainen, meaning woman, ends with nen. Remove nen, add sta, and you get naista. Now, let's practice. Try to put the words in the correct form by yourself. The words in brackets are the basic forms. I will give you a moment to think. Now, let's check the answers together. The first one is 7 medicines. The basic form is lääke, which ends with letter E, so we add TTA. Therefore, 7 medicines is 7 lääkettä. The second one is 5 countries. The basic form is maa, which ends with 2 vowels, double A. So we add ta. Therefore, 5 countries is 5 maata. The third one is 100 days. The basic form is päivä, which ends with a single vowel a, so we add another a. Therefore, 100 days is 100 päivää. Next is 10 Finnish people. The basic form is suomalainen, which ends with nen. Remove nen, add sta, and you get suomalaista. Therefore, 10 Finnish people is 10 suomalaista. Finally, 3 dark nights. The adjective pimeä ends with ä. Normally, words ending with 2 vowels take ta or ta, but ä is one of the exceptions. Instead, we simply add a, giving us pimeää. The noun yö ends with 2 vowels, so we add ta, giving us yötä. Therefore, 3 dark nights is 3 pimeää yötä. Notice that in Finnish, not only nouns but also adjectives change their form to match the grammatical case. That's why we also need to change pimeä into pimeää. Hyvä. Next time we will continue with the second situation where the partitive case is used. Nähtään!